Yay! It's my fantasy football show. You should watch it. Why, hello and welcome back to all of my friends, my fans, and my fellow FTFLers to the longest running weekly episodic fantasy football show out there. That's right, boys and girls. It is time once again for the FTFL Weekly Update. And it is I, not only the host of this amazing show, not only the owner of the streaking 2-1 Hulkamaniacs, not only the fan of the team that's going to pour some water on the fire that is Minneapolis. No, not in that way. Just a lot of purple, I don't even know what you freaks out there running around thinking they've got the whole world by the tail. This week, you're going to find that you're going to go out there and amount to jack squat. That's right, because the Packers are going to take care of business. No. It is I, Brett Sieber, host of the show, owner of the Hulkamaniacs, and of course, that song that's always singing deep down in your heart. Here we are, boys and girls, 3 weeks into the FTFL season, and one team stands alone as the undefeated leader of the pack attack that is, and one team is looking to find some sort of magic, mixing up some sort of potion, an elixir to hopefully cure what ails him. I would try more cowbell, but you, Andy, might just try to have a better product on the field. Although I say that, you're 0-3, but there are teams that are not, that aren't 0-3 that you are better than. So we'll see. Everyone else is kind of mishmashed in the middle. I'll tell you one person, though, that got off the schneid. That's right, my ride or die, Dickweed 2024, make the FTFL great again. And oh, by the way, John, the highest score of the week, he got himself on the board. Now, this week we saw some low scores. And I thought to myself, it kind of feels like we've been scoring not as many points as we maybe have in the last couple of seasons. So I went back and I did some research. I got the number muncher on speed dial, dialed them up, and I said, hey, what are weeks 1 through 3 of the last 3 seasons? So this one, 23 and 22. What do they look like? Where are we at as far as numbers? Now, the range is anywhere between 2,599.5 to 2,648.5. So we're talking like a 50-point. So really, not all that big. The lowest average, week 3 in 2022, that was 75.75 points. The highest average was week 3 in 2023. So this past week at 95.3. Now, in 23, not 24. 95.3. Second on the list was last week, and really those numbers were skewed by Trogdor and his amazing output. More on Trogdor later. If we go lowest to highest output, 22, then 24 this season, and then 23. So it's a lot more bunched up than I thought. Really, in the end, it is kind of a 50-50 game. You win some, you lose some, you score some points, you don't score some points. I just thought I'd look into it, so I did. And now it is time to look into the games for this week, starting off with Mana. 4-time Lucky Pants, breaking and entering title thieving champ Mana, coming into 2-0, taking on yours truly, Hollywood, Hulk Hogan, and the Hulkamaniacs, coming in at 1-1. And boy, oh boy, did the leg get dropped. And we counted 1, 2, 3. Let's be honest, you could have counted to 100. Mark sure wasn't getting off the mat. 96.5 for me, 53.5 for Jeff. For me, some of the same old. DK Metcalf, 18. Lamar, 18. Dallas Goedert, what a night he had. 15 points, 12.5 for Marvin Harrison Jr. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12. Austin Eckler scored a touchdown. Austin Eckler, as the Washington Commanders seemingly have found something. Jaden Daniels, what a week. I know last week I spoke kind of poorly of Jaden Daniels. Boy, he showed me wrong. This week, of course, just 1 week. But I was excited. Austin Eckler scored a touchdown. And then, oh, by the way, he falls curse to the Hulkamaniacs. He falls victim to the Hulkamaniacs running back curse. He has a concussion. He's going to be out at least this week. We'll see. The big pick up the week, Rashid Shaheed. a big turd in the punch bowl. Didn't matter, didn't need him. If you're Mark, Chris Olave, 13 points, the only, let's be honest, of his second round picks that is doing anything for him. Breece Hall, 12, CJ Stroud, 10. You know, there's a lot of hype around CJ Stroud and the Texans this year. Now, of course, they got beat by the Vikings somehow, some way this past week, and I thought, all right, where is CJ Stroud this year compared to where he was last year? He's averaging 12 points a week so far over 3 games. He hasn't scored over 20 since week 12 of last year. I would have guessed it was a lot sooner than that, but it wasn't. Is CJ Stroud the answer for Mark's quarterback? Not entirely sure. 5 adjust players were at 4 or lower. Jeff falls at 2-1. I rise to first place in the division at 2-1 as well. Call this victory juice. That's right, Hagen. Deal with it. Coming in next, Pack Attack at 2-0, taking on Tractor, which maybe should be wah wah. I think we know who the real Trogdor is. It's not week 2, it's more so week 1 and 3. 91. Now, not a bad week. Not a bad week. Still, 80-some points less than he scored last week. 91.5 for him, 97.5 for Eric, Josh Allen. He is, you're talking about, Andy, looking for some sort of magic potion, mixing some ingredients and elixir. My God. You want to win fantasy football titles, you have Josh Allen on your team. Enough said. 30 points for him, 22.5 for King Henry. JJ had 13, Brandon Aubrey 12, including a 6-point field goal that Swart was all pissed off about, even though we voted on it. And I know Swart, the real angle here is just because we voted on it, just because we said yes, doesn't mean that it actually is something that happens in the FTFL, at least not in the year and Lord of our Savior 2024. Mike Evans, 1 point. His second lowest point total in the last 3 years, second only to half point. Mike Evans is usually money in the bank. This week he wasn't. Again, didn't matter. If you're Swart, Rashee Rice, 18, Buffalo's defense, 13. Kyler Stupid Face Murray Jr., 12 points along with James Cook's 12 points. Zach Charbonnet, 19.5 on his bench. In case you're wondering, he is up for trade. I don't want him, but Swart seemingly wants to get rid of him. Could have used those points this week. Instead, Swart falls to 1-2. Eric rises to 3-0. Next up, another undefeated team, the Monkeys at 2-0. We were talking about how this was the 4th year in a row that they started 2-0. One of those seasons, though, of course, he did fail to make the playoffs. No real indicator that's going to be the case this year. However, 62 points this week against Make America Great Against 78 points. Got him the loss. Sid with the win. If you're Sid, Malik Neighbors 20, Jets defense 15. Jared Goff did a halfway decent job this week, 14. Garrett Wilson 10.5. If you're Salty, finally a running back scored a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard 18.5 points. If you have Chuba Hubbard as your lead back and pacing your team week to week, going to be a long rest of the season. Adam Saltmarsh, Chris Godwin, 11. 5 of his players were at 4 or below. Joe Burrow, 28 points on the bench. Would have won if you were playing him. Tyreek Hill, 3.5 points. He had 21.5 in week 1. His average last year was 17.6. The year before that, it was 13.9. How long is Tyreek Hill, especially without a quarterback, going to underperform? And that really will probably tell us how long Saltmarsh's team as a whole is going to underperform, because, man, Tyreek Hill, when he's on, there ain't too many better. Speaking of not the better, I suppose the worst, here with another update on the cringy situation in the FTFL, I give you one Peter Vinci and the cringy report.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining the Cringy Update Week 3, 2024. One of my favorite parts of the Cringy Update is the worst seed of the week, and this week it is Mr. Joe Burrow, who belongs to the Radioactive Monkeys. Now, not only was it 28 points that was sitting on the bench, but it was also the difference between a win and a loss. Sorry, Salty. Whoa! I thought my score was bad, and then Jeff came in and saved me. Manana! 53.5 points. Dude, that's out of all of your starters. I'm pretty sure Swart had one guy score that many points last week alone. This is a new segment in the Cringy Update, Draft in Review. Let's take a look at a couple of those questionable draft choices. Manana! You had not just 1 or 2, but 3 3 second-round draft picks. How many touchdowns have they all gotten? I think 1 or 2 at most. I'm the owner of the Cringy for a reason. I was the least efficient manager this week. 69%. Not as bad as Jeff. Holy crap, this is another new segment in the Cringy. Shaking, but not stirring up wins. Mixing cocktails, 0-3. Now, this is the kind of score I expect from John, but come on, Andy. We had a wide variety of choices to pick this week for the Week 3 nomination for the Cringy Award, but I think it's safe to say that Mananana, Jeff Markser, needs way more than a life jacket, and the Mixing Cocktails got to mix something up. Otherwise, they're just going to be watered down the rest of this season. That concludes the Week 3 nominations for the Cringy Award. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Good luck to all of you out there, except for the one that is playing me.
All right, now, wow, we are expanding outwards into the universe. I was more so impressed. I mean, the graphics are fun. That microphone looks legit. I don't know if that's what makes your beard look so dark, if it's the glow from the microphone or what it is, man. But you're doing something right. The aesthetics of that show are crystal clear. Maybe you can come on, help me out with this, although it is really tough to fix perfect. Yeah, well, anyways, on to the games. And, oh, by the way, would you look who's next? Peter and the Valhalla Vandals coming in at 1-1, taking on the Architect at 1-1. Matt, 85.5. Peter, 59. Not as low as Jeff, Peter, but pretty poor unto itself. Of course, we found out due to your low efficiency rating, at least it's not like the, the efficiency digit, because then we'd say your low ED. But it's not that. It's your efficiency rating, the ER, so we don't have to go into that conversation. If you're Matt, Kyron Williams, welcome back, 25 points. Jonathan Taylor, also, welcome back, 20.5 points. New Orleans defense, 14. Stephon Diggs, 11. Anthony Richardson, 2. Trevor Lawrence, 8 on the bench. Last week I talked about Saltmarsh's quarterback situation. Right now, Matt's quarterback situation, also not great. Kyle Pitts, 3 points. I have to start to think now that the ship that was supposed to set sail for Kyle Pitts actually never even pulled into harbor. I don't know when and or if ever he's going to get it going. If you're Peter, David Montgomery, 15.5. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 13.5. Dobbins, 3.5. Weeks 1 and 2, he was averaging 17 points. Wouldn't have made up the difference necessarily. Not a great week for Peter. He falls to 1 and 2. Matt moves to 2 and 1. And here we are. Someone's O had to go. The Mixing Cocktails coming in at 0 and 2. Taking on my ride or die team, Dickweed at 0 and 2. And ride Dickweed I did. 117.5 to Andy's 80.5. If you're John, Saquon Barkley just flat out took over that football game. 30 points for him. Jaden Daniels, nearly perfect, 24 points. Is that the Jaden Daniels we're going to see? Are we going to see the one from the week prior? Probably for a while, somewhere in the middle, but the potential seems to be there. Jones, 16.5. Jacoby Myers, 15. I think that's Jacoby Myers. Maybe that's Josh Myers, the kicker. No, because Will Reichard is his kicker. That's got to be Jacoby. Will Reichard, Minnesota kicker, 12 points. For Andy, Jamar Chase, welcome back. Seems to be a welcome back week for some players. 25 points. Patrick Mahomes, 16. We have London and Butker both with 13. James Conner, half point. Devin A-Chain, 3.5 points. Neither of those dudes have A-Chain doesn't have a quarterback, and I don't know, it's kind of the same boat Saltmarsh is in with Tyreek Hill. I don't even know, is Jalen Waddle playing anywhere? He must be on a bench somewhere right now. Rough go for A-Chain, rough go for Andy. He falls to 0-3. John, he moves on to 1 and 2. All right, stud the dud next week. Here we go, stud of the week. Allen and Barkley, both 30 points. They're co-studs, both big victories for their teams. Dud of the week, Miami's quarterback situation. It is wreaking havoc on all of those skill players who last year were dynamos. The guy they brought in this week, Skylar Thompson, got hurt. Supposedly, you brought in Huntley, the old Ravens quarterback. Or you could play Tim Boyle if you want to look like you're playing out of the MEAC on a Saturday afternoon. My God, why would you play Tim Boyle? He's garbage. Anyways, they're the dud of the week. All right, here we go. Week 4 matchup. Pack Attack 3-0 taking on the Architect 2-1. And, if Matt wins, he's right there, first place of the division. If Eric wins, he starts to widen that gap to second place. Hulkamaniacs 2-1 taking on, this one hurts. This one hurts. John, it's not personal, buddy. It's business. Hulkamaniacs taking on Dickweed at 1-2. Mana, 4-time Lucky Pants, breaking and entering title thief and champ. Mana coming in at 2-1, taking on Wah Wah at 1-2. The Monkeys at 2-1, taking on Mixing Cocktails at 0-3. And finally, the Valhalla Vandals at 1-2, taking on Make
Welcome, FTFL, to the Fantasy Graveyard. I have returned to predict all of your futures. No one is safe except for the champion. I have come for you. Now we shall reveal our first victim. You may know him by Jogar. Now to the Fantasy Graveyard. Welcome to the Wait, who are you?
Droga. No wonder you're always wrong. There's a new executioner in town.